In this short video, I thought I'd jump on the ChatGPT bandwagon and basically have a look at what ChatGPT suggests in terms of Google Ads optimization techniques and strategies. So I guess ChatGPT doesn't really need any introduction at this point. There's just so much content out there on YouTube, in the news, blogs, and so on. Everybody's been using it for everything from writing funny poems and rap battles through to writing content for websites and creating code and so on. But what I was interested to see is if you're running Google Ads for yourself, for your business, at a high level, could ChatGPT give you any helpful advice or insights in terms of how you might optimize your campaign? So let's assume you've set up a Google Ads campaign in the past. What's ChatGPT going to tell you in terms of optimization? And what I'm going to do is just go through the response that ChatGPT has given me in this particular case and effectively review ChatGPT's suggestions and say, look, does this actually make good sense from a perspective of someone who's spent a lot of time running Google Ads campaigns? So basically what I did is I put an input of, if I'm running Google search ads for my business, what steps should I take to optimize my ads for higher conversion rates and better overall performance? Now, before I dive any deeper, it's really important to remember with ChatGPT, the quality of the output and the kind of value and utility you get is super dependent on the inputs you make and how you frame them. So there's probably ways that I could play around and get a better quality output here by spending more time on the input side, but I just wanted to show at a high level, I guess, what ChatGPT is suggesting. So if you want to spend a lot more time playing around with ChatGPT to give you advice on your Google Ads campaigns, that's probably a better pathway to get superior results. But with that in mind, let's have a look. And also, if you want to leave a comment in the comment section with anything you've put into ChatGPT with respect to common Google Ads mistakes or optimization techniques or strategies or anything like that, I'd love to hear it as well. And I'm always happy to create additional follow-on videos. So I've asked ChatGPT this input, and here's the output. So to optimize your Google search ads for higher conversion rates and better performance, consider taking the following steps. So defining your target audience, knowing who you want to reach and what their interests, needs, and pain points are. This information will help you to create more relevant ads and target them to the right people. Now, this is very sort of nebulous and generic advice, but it's actually a good point. With search advertising particularly, I find that often advertisers don't really think enough about the target audience. They focus just on the sort of keyword side, the pragmatic, tactical, what keywords am I targeting, and are those keywords in the ad copy and landing page and so on. Having a good understanding of your target audience is definitely valuable, not just from a Google Ads perspective, but from any sort of marketing and advertising perspective. So that is actually good advice. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an optimization technique, though. It's actually something you should think about from the outset. So if you're, doing, say, Google search advertising for classic car insurance, who is your target customer? What sort of cars do they drive? What sort of age are they? What sort of language would appeal to them? What are their problems? What problems are they trying to solve? All those kind of things will help you build up an understanding, a profile of the customer, and then you can tailor your messaging around that. But this is not necessarily a point that would be much use if you've already set up a campaign and you're just going in and saying, look, is it running okay? Unless you want to strip it all back and sort of start again. Point two here, use relevant keywords, research the keywords that people are using to search for products or services and include them in your ad copy and landing pages. So this is, once again, sort of like pretty good advice, but the way ChatGPT's phrased it is not that helpful from a Google Ads optimization perspective. The use of relevant keywords in Google Ads is critical, of course, if you're doing search advertising. You do want to research keywords before you start using them, but what this should really be talking about probably more comprehensively is actually, hey, you've got to set your keywords up correctly in your Google Ads account with the right match types and negative keywords and review search terms and so on. Whereas this is very focused on the sort of ad copy and landing page keyword utilization aspect, which is, of course, important as well. Having keywords in your ad copy and landing pages helps Google to better understand the link between your ad or your sort of targeting and the user search, and you'll generally improve performance that way. But it's not that helpful if you've got, terribly set up keyword targeting, you're using all broad match keywords with no negative keywords and so on. So this, once again, it's sort of on the right track as far as optimization advice goes, but it misses the mark. Create compelling ad copy, write ad copy that's clear, concise, and relevant to the user's search query. That's makes good sense. Use strong calls to action and highlight the unique benefits of your product or service. Now, this is pretty good advice. Once again, quite generic, but it is correct. I would, from a search ad perspective, want to see more advice here about trying to incorporate relevant keywords into the ad copy where possible too, just to try and improve that kind of technical side of your ad copy, not necessarily the copywriting, just getting your keywords into the ad copy. So Google's more likely to give you good, good sort of ad scores in effect. Optimizing your landing pages. Your landing page should be fast loading, mobile friendly, and contain relevant information about your product or service. The page should have a clear call to action and be designed to convert customers or visitors into customers. Once again, most people would know this. It's not really optimization advice per se. It's just kind of like a best practice thing. I do like that it's told you, you should have a clear call to action though, because it do from time to time see advertisers send people to landing pages that have no real call to action, but it's pretty nebulous and generic stuff so far. Test and experiment, regularly test and experiment with different ad copy keywords and landing pages to see what works best for your business. Use A/B testing to make data-driven decisions and improve your campaigns over time. Regularly testing and experimenting with different ad copy keywords and landing pages to see what works best for your business. That's pretty good advice there. It's something that most advertisers should probably do more of, especially do-it-yourself or self-managed advertisers. A/B testing, they're talking about A/B testing the ad copy or the landing pages. Hard to say here. Once again, it's good sort of general advice, but not super specific to Google Ads. Monitor your performance. Use the Google Ads dashboard to track your campaign performance, including click-through rates, conversion rates, and cost per click. Make data-driven decisions to optimize your campaigns and get the best results. What would those data-driven decisions be? Once again, probably could do with more advice and insight there. Continuously refine and improve, continuously monitor and refine your campaigns, test new strategies, and make improvements based on your results. The key to success with Google Ads is to continuously test and refine your campaigns over time. Now, that last point there is true. I'd say the key to success is actually to set up your campaigns properly in the first place. And then the second key to success is kind of two parts to it, is that continually testing and refining and improving over time. But if I look at this whole sort of piece of advice here, it's pretty generic, right? There's not actually a lot of specific actions that ChatGPT is telling me to take. It's more kind of like high level, theoretical type advice. Understand your target customer. Well, how would I go and do that? Use relevant keywords. Well, what would that look like? Optimize your landing pages. Well, how would I do that? So it's kind of helpful, but it's not amazingly helpful. So yeah, I wouldn't give ChatGPT a particularly high score here in terms of its actual output for Google Ads optimization advice. But what I went through and said is, can you give me a workflow or process for weekly maintenance and optimization for like Google search ads? So getting a little bit more pointed here on what I want ChatGPT to do. I want a checklist or task list for going in once a week and checking on my Google Ads search campaigns and improving the performance. And lo and behold, from changing the input, the request I've made of ChatGPT, the output in terms of the advice it's giving me for my Google Ads management is substantially improved. And so I'll go through that with you now. So the first thing it's telling me to do on a weekly basis is review performance data, review your campaign performance data for the past week, look at key metrics, impressions, click-through rate, CTR, conversion rate, and cost per conversion, all pretty standard good advice. Identify areas for improvement based on your performance data. Identify areas for improvement. For example, you might find certain keywords that have low CTR or some ads that have a high cost per conversion. Make changes based on your findings, make changes to your campaign. This may include pausing underperforming keywords, adjusting bids for specific keywords, updating ad copy, or creating ad groups. Now, this is still fairly generic, but it's getting in the right direction, especially things like pausing underperforming keywords. I'd love to see it talking about things like checking search terms, using negative keywords more aggressively, and so on. But still, this is pretty handy stuff. Monitor campaign performance. I don't really see how that differs from review performance data in step one, but whatever. Refine your targeting, review and refine your targeting strategy. Consider adding new keywords, adjusting bids, or targeting specific geographic locations based on your performance data. So, a little bit like a blend of 2 and 3 there. Test and experiment. Continuously test and experiment with different ad copy, keywords, and landing pages. Use A/B testing. Once again, I keep coming back to this. And then document your changes. Keep a record of all changes you make to your campaigns and the impact they have on performance. This information will be useful in future optimizations to help you stay on track with your goals. That's actually really good advice there. Okay, there's the change history tool in Google Ads, but it's not always the most useful thing. It is really handy just to keep like a basic Google Doc or iCloud Notes or something like that, where you just jot down, hey, on this day I did the following things. So you can quickly go back over time if you find what did I change on this given day that's had an impact on performance? And if you go into the change history and your change history is not detailed enough in terms of context, this is a really just helpful piece of advice. So this particular response here, this workflow or process, it's not bad. Like it's getting there. It's definitely better than the recommendation of output that that ChatGPT has given me in step one for optimizing Google search ads. But it's still not amazing. Like, I think if I was being critical of it and I was writing, if someone had asked me this workflow question and I was writing a response, I'd be focusing a lot more on a couple of particular aspects, such as the making changes. What does that actually look like? So it would look like going into search terms reports and checking for poor quality search terms that are irrelevant to what you're advertising for and blocking those via negative keywords. It would look like, you know, checking that you don't have any warnings in your account. It would look like reviewing the optimization score recommendations to see if there's anything relevant there. And you're building out a bit more of a sort of robust task list off the base of that. But this is still a pretty good starting point. So I'm interested to see what else I can kind of get out of ChatGPT in terms of Google Ads campaign setup and optimization advice. I'm going to play around a bit more and probably make some more videos. What I'd like to do, for example, is look at asking ChatGPT to basically give me some outputs for a campaign setup. So I'm going to just pick a sort of like demo or dummy niche and set up something like a fake business and just say, hey, I've got a business in the following niche and following location. I want to advertise for people looking for the following kind of product or service, and see what it suggests in terms of keywords and ad copy, and basically set that up and see what I get performance wise. Or I might even try it for my own business, or there's a couple of other businesses I've got some shareholdings in where I could actually publicize this as a case study as well. But yeah, I just was interested to see what ChatGPT thought at a high level around Google Ads optimization advice. One of the reasons this has interested me is I've recently asked ChatGPT for advice on recovering from an SEO problem, sort of organic search decline on a website that's been hacked. And I'm going to do a case study on my main Sam Frost digital marketing consultant channel, which I'll link in the video description, about using ChatGPT's advice to help me recover from the SEO impacts of this particular hack. And I've actually been really impressed with the advice. It's been a lot more kind of robust and fully formed than what I've seen here with Google Ads. But once again, as I mentioned in the intro to this video, some of it might be the fact that I'm not necessarily putting in the best inputs. So I'm keen to hear any suggestions you've got. I definitely want to try the process of asking Google Ads, asking ChatGPT to create for me keyword lists and ad copy and so on for a Google Ads campaign, and see what sort of performance I get as well. So yeah, thank you for watching. A bit of an open-ended video here. Just wanted to see what ChatGPT would do in terms of optimization advice. If you found ways to make ChatGPT's advice for Google Ads optimization more effective, then I'd love to hear from you. Do leave a comment. Please like this video if it's helpful and subscribe for more free Google Ads advice.